Wow, we have not a lot to get to, but some really, really big news, especially for us Real Madrid fans. Welcome. Happy Thursday, May 31st. Champions League's wrapped up. It's this little 2-week break, 2.5-week break before the World Cup, and I think we knew that there was going to be some big news coming out of Real Madrid, particularly Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale, considering the post-game interviews they both gave after the Champions League final, right? You knew it's sometime in between this gap, or at least before the World Cup started, right? That Cristiano at least made it seem like he was going to tell the fan base what his future was with the club. But I don't think anybody expected Zidane to announce that he was resigning from the club. In the press conference, Florentino was also in shock, having his hands on his head a few times, or on his face. You could just tell. It seems, I actually can't take credit for this, but somebody on Twitter brought it up. I can't remember the Twitter handle, but it said somebody finally pulled a Florentino Perez on Florentino Perez, meaning he's got a history of just pulling the plug even when coaches have been doing well. For instance, Carlo Ancelotti, a few other ones, just kind of pulling the plug on them and letting them walk, right? So this time, I think the unexpected happened to him, where a coach that won 9 trophies, 3 Champions League titles consecutively, 4 and was it 4? Actually, he was part of the 4th one. I'm sorry, but he wasn't the manager, right? He was part of the coaching staff, and he's, after 2.5 years, is, I don't know, in a time where Real Madrid seemed to be finding its hierarchy once again, right? Zizou decides to leave. And as a fan, it obviously hurts, and you're like, damn, well, what next, right? It's going to be a transition phase where obviously the next manager has a ton of expectations and a lot to live up to, but you know it's not going to happen. New philosophies come into play, new everything, right? New coaching staff and everything. Will they get along with the players? Also, I think that's a huge one, a huge part of maybe his decision as well. Maybe Zidane, I mean, I have a theory, but we'll get to that in a bit, knew that, okay, winning is taxing, right? Especially when you're going this late into the season, year in and year out. 2, I mean, he won everything, right? Leave on top, right? 3, this core group of players, you're talking Cristiano, Ramos, Modric, who else? Benzema. They're all in this state. Marcelo. They're all in this stage where they're 30 or a little bit over 30 in some of the cases. Sergio Ramos and Cristiano, maybe Modric. Where he knew. I mean, I think it's one of those things that we rather leave too soon than just kind of hang around and just, almost like a Wenger Arsene, what happened in that situation in Arsenal. He knew that the time of this core group is up. I mean, maybe, I think he could have squeezed out a 4th one. You could have made that 4th Champions League run. I think that core group still had another run in them. But I'm sure he also knew that, okay, they're going into a World Cup. They really haven't had a break, so this is going to be a taxing season going into next season, right? Maybe, and here's where my theory comes in, excuse me. I think ultimately he wants to be the head coach of France. That's just what I believe. So, leave on a high in Real Madrid. I mean, he's only 45. Leave on a high in Real Madrid. Depending on what Deschamps, I mean, even if Deschamps wins the World Cup, he's probably going to leave as well. Similar, right? He's won the World Cup, there's nothing else for him to prove. Or, odds, if he doesn't win, this is where the entire country of France is, bring Zidane. And I'm sure Zidane wants that too, right? goes into 2022 as the French head coach, could potentially win a there, right? I mean, shit, he's won everything else he's touched, or he's coached or played in. So that's only maybe a matter of time. Wins the World Cup, maybe early 50s. Comes back and gives the Real Madrid another run, right? Maybe another stint where he prolongs it, maybe, with a new set of players, right? By then, you'll probably look at Isco and Asensio and Vasquez and all these guys as the main group, with obviously a few more key pieces being added on. So yeah, I think he's playing it smartly, right? You don't want your legacy to be damaged, and let's be honest, in big clubs, right? Pep did the same thing with Barcelona, left at a high. You do tend to be remembered by the last season, right? And as hard as these fan bases are, there was a lot of Real Madrid fans that were calling for Zidane, said, "Oh, he's doesn't know what he's doing. What's he doing playing Benzema instead of Bale?" So on and so forth. Why doesn't he give Ceballos more minutes? Da-da-da. Leave at a high instead of, I don't know, potentially not winning a fourth, right? Because his standard is held probably the highest out of any Real Madrid coach in recent memory. So I think El Mister, as they call him, just brilliantly thought this through. And I mean, I think we do see him back in, I don't know, maybe after 2022 is what I'm predicting. This is going to be let his mind relax for a little bit, take over the French national team, see if he wins in 2022, and then come back to Real Madrid and potentially go at another historic run. I mean, the guy, like I said, is only 45, 46, somewhere around there. That's young. I mean, Jurgen Klopp is only 50 and he's young. So yeah, I think for us Madridistas, although it is a sad day and present, right? I do think in 5-10 years, 5-ish, 6-ish years, he will be back. Anyway, he will be back, and I think he's probably going to stay for good. So, I mean, that's just my theory, right? Obviously, I have no insider news. I don't interview him right after or anything, or I'm not speculating. That's just my theory, my opinion on the matter. But yeah, nonetheless, sad day, but I think it's a bigger picture as a whole. Because, I mean, if you think about the French national team, it's also a great time there where the talent is young. You know, the Pogbas, the Mbappés, the Dembélés, the Varane. They still have another. Maybe he sees that they're not mature enough to. I don't know. Maybe he does see that they're not mature enough to win this World Cup, and the next one is theirs for the taking. So yeah, let me know what did you guys think? What was your thoughts on this whole Zidane resigning as the Real Madrid head coach? Let me know if you guys enjoyed the video, guys. Please comment, share, subscribe. It would mean the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an awesome day, guys. Take care. Much love.